Hi, I'm Edda, and welcome to Beauty Flip. Each and every week, we take ordinary people's lives and find out what is so extraordinary about them. Today, I introduce you to three lovely heroes. Each of them have taken on ways to find greater levels of education and in that empowerment and having more satisfaction in their life and more money. So let's dive right in. Hey ho, my beautiful lovelies. I'm so excited you're here. Some of you might have noticed I took a little break, a little vacay last week. That was because I got to thinking. I was like, wow, I love so much about what we're doing here. But it's missing something. And maybe you were thinking, yeah, I love what she's doing here, but it's missing something. And that thing that is missing, in my humble opinion, is these guests that I keep promising you. Like, are you starting to think I'm a liar? Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of do too. What I've come to realize is there's so many people whose scripts have been flipped and they're still flipping them and they're flipping this part of their life and that part of the life and they are on fire. Yay. And then I say, oh my gosh, we'll have this amazing conversation, whether it's like an employee or someone who I'm coaching or someone who's in my chair. We'll just have this amazing conversation. I'm like, you should be on my podcast. And they're like, yeah, I don't want to go and like share like the vulnerable details about my life and perhaps someone judge me for like the things that I'm doing. And I'm like, I get that, right? Because like if there is anything in this world, there's a whole bunch of cancel culture. And the last thing anyone wants to do is be like, I'm so proud of myself, I'm flipping my scripts. And then tomorrow someone like is canceling them because they came out and said a thing. So currently, the way that things are starting to stack up is we're probably going to have some guests. Some of those guests are going to be really uber like courageous and or like maybe they're sharing stories from a long time ago that maybe they don't need to be so courageous about. And maybe we'll start having people who are like willing to just write into the show. So first off, you want to either share a script that you have flipped. Happy to hear about it. Please go ahead and message me and let me know. How can you message me? Well, I guess you can message me at my Instagram account for the podcast, and that is called Beauty Flip with Edda Coscioni. So that'd probably be the best way, like DM, like, hey, I got a script I want to share. Or maybe you're like, oh, I am so stuck and I need to flip this script, but I don't know how. We've all been there, right? So maybe you're like, can you help me? And you could write that. You could put that in a DM. Again, you can let me know, like, I so want it. So I will make sure that in this episode, in my episode notes, you'll see a place to DM me on Insta where we can make connections and then we can share the details. But today, we are going to have, if you will, three lovely people, three lovely lovelies, I would like to call them, who all flipped their scripts about education. So, education is really key. It's really important. And let's first get into why I would want to share these three lovely lovelies and their varying degrees of stories of how they flipped their script and how they went and got associate's degrees, two of them, and one of them is currently completing an associate's and soon to be getting her bachelor's, like moving in that direction. And then the third one, who took 8 long years to get her bachelor's. So, shall we find out a little bit about why education is so important? And then, you know, meet these fabulous little lovelies. They aren't coming in person. I am just going to share, I'm just going to brag a little bit about them. And then we get to applaud them. And then we get to think, ooh, what do I want to like further in my world that might have been inspired by these three lovely, lovely human heroes today? Okay, let's talk about education. To some degree or another, you've at least probably done your like basics, your elementary, your middle school, your high school, right? And that's like fabulous. And for some of us, and I do include myself in this us because you're going to hear my story in a little bit, we cannot afford a college education. And therefore, we're left to discover what we can do potentially in the trades and whatnot. But I am going to invite you, if you, like me or the other two women I'm going to talk about, are in a place where higher education is not a thing for you, we're going to look at how you can get it. But before we go there, we're going to go to why. Now, some of you might be in higher education and or graduated from higher education, and you're like, what evs, Edda, so been there, so done that. Okay, good for you. But I still want to talk about education. Education is the absolute key to the kingdom. Now, sometimes the way education is done, where you study to take a test, is not the keys to the kingdom. I'm not telling you that that's that, but I am saying being curious about things and educating yourself and getting potentially a degree, an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a doctoral degree. These things open up doors for you. At one level, they just actually open up doors for you. Many people will say when they're looking to hire someone, they'll see if someone completed a degree, because what that says to the boss, to the owner, is that you, as a candidate, are capable of actually doing something that has a very big, long goal and completing it. At another level, so number two, why is education so cool and fabulous? Is because, oh my gosh, when you put yourself in this scenario, you begin to develop how to think. This is so cool. I want you to hear it. At one level, you take a whole bunch of classes and you have to pass a class, and you have to write a paper, and you have to study for exams, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But at another level, what higher education does is it gets you to learn how to think, how to research, how to digest things. So, in this way, you are learning critical thinking skills. And ultimately, it is in a place where you begin to break down some of the patriarchies, like, ways that they keep you bonded, because there is an economic freedom. I wouldn't say total freedom, but I would say you have more freedoms with the more education that you have. Wowza. Okay, sounds great. Sounds wonderful. I want to tell you about someone. She's not one of our heroes today, but I want you to tell you about this woman. She like blows my mind. I want to introduce you to someone who I think is a hero of actually education for women, and in particular education for Black women. Her name is Mary McLeod Bethune. Now, she built a school basically in October of 1904 with $1.50. She had 5 students. And she basically had a vision that she was going to continue to grow. She was going to continue to build something where she could educate, very specifically, Black women, Black girls. So she began this program, and she starts with 5 girls. In 1927, she actually merges with the Cookman Institute for Boys. So at this point now, they have come together. And then in 1941, they actually become not just a school anymore, they become a college. I mean, that is such a huge deal. And they become the Bethune Cookman College, and it became accredited 4-year college for Black boys and girls. And this university, started by this woman, still exists today. And in 2007, it became a university. So it achieved not just college status, but a university status. And I think this is important because ultimately what she said, and I think this is good, I think we all want to think like this when we think about ourselves. If the system won't let you in, I will build my own. And so she looked at how she wanted to create something to educate people who deserved to be educated, who deserved a better chance, a better life. And she saw there was no place for her to get that. And so she actually, very much so, built it her own. And now it is a legacy, it is a university. And that is something to just like, yay, go and flip like major scripts. But should we get to know our fabulous little heroes that I'm calling them? We're going to meet, if you will, three heroes. And these three heroes, they didn't come from a lot of like money or actually potentially opportunity. The first one I want to introduce you to is me. Me, little old me. Hi. Hi, Etta. How are you? I'm good. Welcome to my show. Yeah, so I just want to share when I was looking at finishing my high school, I wanted to go to college, and we really didn't have a lot of money. And truthfully, no one ahead of me in my family had really gone to college or university. And so this was like a big deal. And I just knew that I wanted something more for myself. I definitely grew up in a hometown where people like really was great community. And at the same time, I wanted to go out and discover the world. And so here is my, if you will, little bit about going to the university. I did most of this on, at that time, Pell Grants. There was a moment where we had this guy who like paid for a couple semesters of my schooling, but then ultimately he fell to the wayside. And then I was determined to graduate, but I also needed to like pay for rent and, groceries, etc. So I would often work while I went to school. And sometimes I took a semester off and worked two jobs so I could make enough money so I could go back to school. And this is what I want you to hear. Two things. One, it took me 8 years. It took me 8 years. Now, some people, they might be embarrassed by that. But I'm like, no, I'm not going to be embarrassed. You know why? Because I didn't give up on myself. I didn't give up on this idea of me having a higher education. And truth be told, actually, I gained something that a lot of my peers who basically were given the opportunity of their parents paying for their school did not ever earn. Earned so much grit, so much tenacity. I might not have been the smartest kid always in every class, but damn, I was a good student because I worked for every one of those days and I learned how to study, how to read, how to educate myself to really like dig in and find out things. And so, yay, that's one of our heroes today. Me, oh my God. Oh. But let's go on. I want to share with you another story. There's somebody I know, and she's thinking about it, come one day and share her story. But I'm just going to brag a little bit on her. This is a woman who I know, and she basically, I've known her now for 4 years. And somehow it just came out in getting to know her that she talked about that one time that she like wanted to go to college, but her parents did not have money. Now she is currently in her 30s. And so really, I mean, when you think about it, like college is so long ago. Hello. Like college is so far back there, right? And so, at some degree, like this was something she had just kind of like decided was not for her anymore. But I shared my story with her and I shared how she could do it. And I even gave her thoughts and ideas. And ultimately, that woman, about a little over 2 years ago, applied for her associates, and she's been going to school for pretty much 2 years and about to graduate from her associate's degree. And I'm just so immensely proud of her. And part of what I get, like when I see her, is like, one, it is blowing her mind. And she is literally flipping the internal script of who she thought she could be and what she thought her life was about. She doesn't quite know what is this horizon that she's reaching for, but damn, you see something in her that is a fire that got reignited. And that is so, so amazing. And that's education right there. That is the power of education. That right there is the power of finding a way to invest in yourself, to say, I matter, to acknowledge that you deserve a chance to dream. And I just want to applaud the second little hero. I'm not giving her name. Let's just call her our lovely associate's degree person. Yay, we love that. And she actually, once she graduates, she's going to go and then she's going to get her bachelor's. So she is on the 4-year track. She is rocking and rolling. And I just love this. Now let's talk about our third lovely hero. And this is another woman who ultimately did not come from a place where she ever really thought she would go to school. And then ultimately, her work that she was doing sort of was starting to feel less motivating to her. And so she was kind of trying to figure out in her world who she could be, could become. And some of her friends said, hey, you should go and get a nursing degree because it's so rewarding and it actually is really good money. And, it's like not all that hard. So this lovely lady went, and she actually was able to borrow some money from her parents in order to do this. And in doing so, she went full on heads. And she too, I want you to know, actually all three of these stories are women who worked full time, hello, full time work, and then went to school full time, hello. Woo, tired much? Yes, I think so. I mean, truthfully, caffeine probably supported us all. So here, this lovely lady who, let's call her the nursing degree lady, and maybe she too one day will come on to our podcast and share her fabulous story, was like full on in and ready to start. So she had done all of her coursework and she was like in her last semester and she was doing like all the actual practical stuff. And that's when it hit her. Ooh, ooh, ooh. She was not fit to be a nurse, and this was not where she wanted to go. And I remember sharing, like, we were having a talk, and she was just telling me, like, what did I do? Like, what did I do? Like, I can't do this, and I can't like go to my mom and dad and tell them I wasted all this money. And so we thought about it for a while. And so her story wasn't like this like trajectory all the way through, but we just like took a break and we said, well, but what could you do? Like, you don't have to necessarily give back the money or something like that. I mean, maybe you could, and that's fine. But what if there is something you could salvage from this degree? What if there is something there? And she found it. And she found it. And it was something that was actually much more near and dear to her heart. So she took this whole like medical background, nursing background, like basically almost degree. And she saw that when she really kind of looked at herself, that she cared about health and she did care about a lot of things, but not in that way. And she realized she cared about movement and wanting to potentially help people be healthy through diet and exercise. And she finished her degree getting a kinesiology degree. So cool. So cool. So, as I'm sharing these three stories, and even where I started with this woman who basically created a college, what I want you to know is that it is so cool the opportunities that abound by people going and getting further educated. Now, here's the other thing. Okay, maybe it's not a degree. Nowadays, you can get a certificate. You can get so many certificates, so many ways that you can make an impact in your life by going in, just taking some classes or getting certifications, sometimes 2-year courses. There's so many things. And ultimately, part of the lesson that I want to share with you is that you, oh, my lovely human being, we are built, if you remember way back from the very beginning, we are built to be curious. We love to learn. We do. Maybe we didn't love to learn just so that we could take a test, boring much, but we do love so deeply to understand the universe by which we are living in. Yes, we deeply desire in so many different aspects to understand and really be able to live in our world feeling empowered. And the best way to feel empowered is to learn about the things that matter to you. So I'm not telling you go be like me and go to school for 8 years. But if you want to, you can, because I did it. So maybe you can too. Or I'm not telling you just because you're like in your 30s, you need to go back to school and get an associate's and then maybe a bachelor's. I am telling you it's okay if you choose to, because there are people out there who are doing it. I'm not telling you if you like are in your degree program and suddenly you don't have a clue why you picked that as your degree. Help me. Why'd I pick this? What the heck? Do I have to like basically start all over? No, you can figure it out. You can figure it out. And there are answers for everyone, and it can be done. Now, I'm also not saying it's like Uber Eats and you just get on your phone and you just take 5 minutes and you're suddenly living a happy life. No, it's going to take some grit. But the exciting thing about grit is you discover things about yourself that you might not have ever discovered. There's something really cool when you stretch yourself and go for like a goal or a dream, that you find out really what you're made of. I'm going to share some, if you will, edification about the stats of how many lovely, lovely, lovelies are out there right now killing it. This little segment I call For Your Edification. So, a couple of really interesting facts for all of you lovely little humans in whatever world that you live in. If you are judging yourself about why you should not go to school, here are some things I want you to think about. 40% of all full-time undergraduates, so basically people who are getting associates and bachelor's degrees, are employed while they're in school. Wowza, 40%, like that's half of the people. Oh, but it gets better because, my lovely lovelies, 74% of all part-time undergraduates, so again, people getting associates and bachelors, work while they're enrolled. Yes, yes, can we have a hallelujah for all those people who are working and going to school, going to school. We are looking at somewhere around 56.1 million people being employed while they go to school. So here's the thing that I just want any of you who might be having a feeling about having to work and go to school. You got a lot of sisters and brothers out there who are doing it, who are killing it, or who maybe aren't killing it, but they're giving it their best shot. They are going for it. And they, like you, maybe with an extra cup of coffee every single day, they make it through each day, turning in their papers, checking in and doing the job that they need to do, and then potentially studying for an exam. So hang in there if you're in it. And if you're not in it, just like know you can do it too. Here is one more edification for you that I want to share. Okay, so if I have not convinced you already by my 3 lovely little human stories of people, heroes who like went and did it, I want to tantalize you just a little further. So basically, when a woman gets her bachelor's degree, she is going to earn about 59% more than a woman with a high school diploma. That is a really hard number to swallow, but I think it's a really important number to swallow. That the biggest way that you, personally, you, my lovely little human, and make a difference in your earning potential is by getting a degree. Yes. And that in really one person's lifetime can add up to, oh my gosh, this is a number, $630,000. So, really important is that with a college degree, you have the opportunity to literally change your trajectory for yourself and the potentially for the family beyond, whether your actual family that you're living with, as well as your family that you create with your husband or wife and the children that you rear. It is so amazing. So, what I am preaching here today, my lovely little humans, is how actually we just love to learn. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And that ultimately for you to have more agency in your life and more mobility, and for you to actually have a better, more robust financial life, you might want to think about going to college. And then for some of you, maybe you got your undergrad, maybe if you feel like that is all that you want to do, more power to you. But maybe there are certificates out there that will help you fine tune skills, that will help you point you into directions, that will give you guidance. And last but not least, often when you are in these fields of study, you meet people, and they become like mentors for you. They decide that you're worthy of literally being a part of something that they have built or other people in the community have built. So I know that this is kind of like you're like, oh my God, I was just watching Netflix tonight. I wasn't thinking about going to college, but it is an important question to ask yourself. What is stopping you? And if it's money, then maybe you're like me. And maybe you take 8 long years to go to college and you work so many jobs at grocery stores and bars and restaurants. Oh my. Or maybe you're like, oh, what's stopping me is I'm in my mid-30s and I can't do it. But then you say, you know what? Edda told me about that lovely little woman who got her associates and who's getting her bachelor's. And she did it because she remembered that this is something she wanted. And she decided now she can do it because she is older. She's not just 18 and she can do it. Or maybe you are like my lovely other third person who was getting a nursing degree. Oh, and then she sort of realized not the degree she wanted, and you, like her, sort of just stalled out on a degree and thought, well, this is not what I want to do, so why am I doing it? But you, like her, could find a way to salvage the degree and find what the degree is worth so that you can get that huge boost in your ego, the boost in who you are becoming, a connection to people in your community. Yes, my lovely, lovely humans. Each and every one of us, I want us all to flip our script on this one. This one is big. And I hope, oh my gosh, I really do hope you love this new format where we're going to be meeting ordinary humans just like you. And we're going to learn about why they're so extraordinary, just like you. Yes. So I leave you with this. As we close today, remember that learning isn't just something you finish and check off a box. It's something you become. And it's something that empowers you to be more than you ever knew you could be. So let this in, let that script go, and ask yourself this question. What kind of classroom that you want to have, and where will it create liberation in your life? See you next week when we flip even more scripts. Thanks all for hanging out with me. I hope you really enjoyed this new way of being. DM me if you want to be a part of my little podcast. It could be a question where you want me to help you flip your script, or my lovely, lovely, lovely,
you could have a story that you want us to celebrate because you too, even though you're ordinary, are quite a hero.